Big news from NotebookLM over the past day. They've released a new update, and I'm pretty excited about a couple things here. Two things that are kind of in the same vein. The slide decks and the infographics. I think from a presentational standpoint, these are two massive improvements to the platform. If you're not familiar, by the way, with NotebookLM, it's arguably the best research tool on the AI market currently. You can upload a number of sources, they call them sources, into the platform, and it will combine those sources, and it basically becomes a repository of that information. So you can repurpose those sources, turn them into anything from an audio podcast to a video overview, a slideshow, but this platform just keeps getting better and better. And this update here, being able to utilize the new image platform by Google, Nana Banana Pro, which is arguably the best image platform currently, pretty exciting. So whether you're creating a slide deck for your company, your job, or for a class, maybe you're presenting something in school, or you need to create an infographic for similar purposes as well, that you can use in a blog post or a presentation, any purpose essentially that you need. Maybe you're creating an infographic to show your fantasy football team all the great stats of all your victories that year. I don't know. There's a number of ways you can use it. You can use it for pretty much anything. I personally will use it for both business purposes, showing people SEO stats, putting stats together like that, exporting data from Google Search Console, Google Analytics, and collating that together into Notebook. But I've also used it for just learning different things. Like I've used it for finance education. I've uploaded a bunch of information about different stock evaluations and put that into a podcast that I can listen to on my free time. So you can utilize that and just always be learning and collecting information that way, which is pretty cool. So here's the NotebookLM dashboard area. Right now I'm creating a new notebook, so we have to start by adding sources. I'll just kind of run you through how this works, and then we can test a couple of the new features that just got updated. Let's say we're trying to learn a skill like, I don't know, how to paint cabinets. This is just something I grabbed here from Google. So let's start by grabbing a few video links and a few website links. Now, one thing that might be advantageous here is that, like, let's say that you're trying to rank a website in the AI overview or ChatGPT. Well, you can pick specifically from these resources to add to your repository. So let's say that we're looking at the AI overview, how to paint cabinets. We see these videos here posted right away. Okay, so this is probably a good sign that Google likes this content. It addresses the topic completely, we can assume. And we probably want to glean some ideas off of what they're doing, especially if we're doing anything video-wise with YouTube, right? So we copy the links and you can just paste them in here very easily. And then you'll see it, every source you upload will show up here under the sources area. So you just keep hitting add sources, and you can add anything. You can add PDFs like I was saying. So for SEO clients, I will take exports of Google Search Console and GA4, Looker Studio, anything like that. And you can upload that data here into the sources section, and it will be able to extract really important key insights for clients. And so I'll use that as a reference point when I'm going in to do a monthly report. I'll put the data in there, have it pull out certain insights, and then I'll go in and be able to highlight those. Basically, it cuts down a lot of the manual work of going through reports like I used to be doing. There's still work involved, of course, but it does make that process a lot easier. And it ultimately helps the client because you can identify a lot of different things faster than you can manually. It would take too much time to do manually. Anyway, so let's say for this example, the how to paint cabinets, let's say we're going to throw up 5 YouTube links. I think it's better to use more sources than less. The more information you feed any LLM, the better, especially this one, because this one specifically is taking that exact information that you're feeding it. It's not like some other platforms where it will also pull some additional information. Like if you go into Gemini or Perplexity and you say, or ChatGPT, and you say, hey, I'm trying to learn how to paint cabinets, and then it will pull a bunch of resources for you and kind of put that all together for you. Here, you have to guide it in that direction. So you're providing it basically the source information, then it puts that source information together in a packaged, well-organized way. So this is really good when you already have the source information and you're not trying to acquire new source information like you would with those other LLMs. This is for when you have that info and you're just trying to organize it better and extract those key insights faster. So let's grab like I said, let's grab a few of these. For the sake of time, maybe I won't do 5 videos. Let's take these first 3 videos. Now let's also go down. I'm still in the AI overview section here. It looks like it's all video content they're showing, which isn't too surprising. So let's actually go down here to the first results. So Reddit's an interesting one. I actually haven't tested pulling Reddit links into NotebookLM. NotebookLM, I keep saying LLM. I haven't tested Reddit, but let's do it right now. Let's see what happens. So when you add website URLs, you can add them in bulk. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll start with kind of almost like an SEO keyword research project where I'm searching for specific keywords and I just pull together a bunch of relevant URLs, kind of what I'm doing now, I guess. But yeah, so if we go down here, just grab a bunch of these, that are ranking on page 1, keep it simple. And you could go as deep into this as you want. You could go on to page 2, you could go down here to other, I assume you could go to other Reddit sources. Facebook's another one. Maybe we can try that and see if that works. I don't know that it will. It's a very good possibility it will not, but let's find out together. The point is that you're cutting down a lot of your research work by doing this, and so it's really useful. Now we have about 4 website links ready to go in here as sources, and that goes with our 3 YouTube links that we had. So now you can see all these sources are being ingested into NotebookLM, and it shows you this little summary, basically a summary here, and it names itself based on the resources you provide it. So we can see that this is right in line with what we fed it, so everything looks good. Now the cool parts are over here. So this is the studio section of NotebookLM. And you have a few options. The one I like to do, I've been playing around with this a lot, is the audio overview. You can think of this as a podcast, more or less. Sort of like a miniature audio book. And what happens is, if you click on this pencil, you'll see all these customization options. So this is like a podcast structure. It has 2 hosts, essentially. The deep dive is the default option. So it's 2 hosts, just going deep into this topic based on the resources you provided. There's the brief, which is just a shortened version of the deep dive from what I've seen. Then you have a critique, which I guess could be good if there's more controversial topics or more dialogue heavy topics. Like I guess if you're feeding it specific information, you're trying to make a business decision based on that, this might be a good way to give you some of the pros and cons of that decision making. Possibly. Then there's debate. I haven't tried debate, but I think this would be somewhat similar to critique, where it's just a little bit more contrarian. So yeah, you create one of these and you hit generate, and you can also give it specific notes as well. It's like when I was doing one for for SEO, if I'm doing one for SEO where I'm putting together some insights that I just want to listen to because I like listening to stuff in podcast form, I might say, like if there's SEO news coming out on a specific thing, I might say, well, how does this affect content creation? How does this affect link building? I might isolate a specific thing like that. That's a pretty high level example. But another one was finance. When I was doing some stock sourcing in here, like learning about specific stocks, I would say, what factors to look for in a specific earnings outcome, a quarterly earnings result. And then that entire podcast ended up focusing on that. So the voices of this are, they sound very realistic. It's AI voices, obviously, but it doesn't sound robotic at all. It sounds like a very modern human voice. And it's pretty, the give and take between the 2 hosts is unbelievable. So that's one option. I love the audio overview. Video overview, I haven't played as much with this. I've tested it a little. It's pretty nice as well. It creates these sort of presentation type, almost like a slide presentation with I think it has voices and it has text as well. I think for the most part. I've only tried this one a couple of times, but I think this could be useful if you're doing a more visual presentation type thing for your client or for your coworkers or your class or something like that. I think it could be valuable there. And they have similar options here where you can do the brief or the explainer. The brief is typically only a couple minutes long. I know that especially for the audio overview, it's very short. It's just a high level summary. The explainer is going to be several minutes. It's going to get a lot deeper into that topic. You can choose your language, which is great. And then, yeah, of course, you can specify exactly what you want it to be doing. And you can give it like the next steps. It even illustrates that here in this example. So you can, if it's a business presentation, maybe you have the basic information that you want it to highlight, but then you have it help you with those next steps if you need it as well. So I don't know if that made sense, but it's pretty cool. These are all really cool features. So these are the new additions, essentially, the new updates. So we have the infographic, and this is gonna be pretty similar. It's a lot actually easier in these settings. It's a lot less detailed than the audio and video. But, I also didn't touch on, there's these two. I haven't used these quite as much, like the mind map. So I guess this could be good for organizing certain processes, maybe in your task management related things, or your company structure, things like that. Reports, this could be really useful as well. I haven't specifically used the reports option, but you could theoretically draft a basic marketing report for a client, or some sort of insights document for them that way as well. And then for people taking classes, the flashcards and quiz I think are really useful. They work a lot like the traditional flashcards back in the day, where you have your question, then you flip it over. It's pretty cool. And again, this is all coming from the information you feed it. So the more sources, the better. You want to feed it as much as possible. They do have some AI options here. So it has web scraping. So if you're unsure or you want to add sources to this list, you can go in and have it do a deep research task using Gemini. But yeah, I mean, for just collecting your specific insights for a client or whatever, you can just feed it those insights there. Anyway, so yeah, the infographic and slide deck are the things that I'm interested in right now. And let's start with the infographic, because this is something I get asked a lot by clients, especially when it comes to content creation, because we're always trying to create fun, engaging content for clients. It doesn't do the job anymore to just fire off a 500-word blog post. You actually have to put some creative bent into it nowadays to improve the time on page, the overall user experience, to make people want to buy from you in a lot of cases. So it's not enough just to write basic text. So any way that we can repurpose content, infographics a great way to do that. They're easier for people to share. They can show up in Google Images, all that stuff. But let's say for this example, let's create a step-by-step explanation of cabinet painting. And let's just do standard for this example. And it's nice that you can choose the orientation, because I guess if you're posting this on an Instagram account or TikTok or wherever, you could do different dimensions for that. We'll keep it in landscape for now. And let's hit generate, and we'll see how long this one takes. So you see it's generating based on the 7 sources we fed it, and we'll see where we're at now. All right, it just finished, so let's open it here. And here we go. My goodness. How to paint kitchen cabinets, a step-by-step DIY guide. A clear, budget-friendly guide for DIYers on how to transform your kitchen with a durable, professional-looking finish. Phase 1, preparation. Look at the image quality. This is pretty decent. I mean, for one go, and like we saw in the official update from Google, this is leveraging the new Nano Banana Pro. So the image quality should be amazing, which it is. This is very good. So it has 3 phases. Wow. This would be an amazing document to share, or an image to share in a blog, on a service page, on a social media post. I'm sure you could repurpose this very easily into any of the above. Now let's go to the slide deck option. And I want to use the same prompt that we used for the infographic and just see what the differences are, if anything. This will obviously be in a different format, but I'm just curious what the differences are here. So let's leave everything default for now. Detailed deck, presenter slides. Now this is interesting. So we have the detailed deck option, which we're gonna do for now, but presenter slides could be useful as well. If you want to make sure you're hitting your key talking points. I know that's something that I always struggle with when I'm trying to present things, making sure that I say everything I need to say. All right, let's do it, and let's see how long it takes and what it gives us here. All right, so the slide deck is finished. Now this one took a lot longer to make. Took probably 7 minutes or so, but here is the result. So this is like a PowerPoint presentation here, the definitive guide to painting your cabinets. Now in total, 15 slides in total, so that's why it took so long. Look at this, so we have before and after photos, which I don't know, I guess it looks like the same kitchen, huh? A kitchen transformation without the remodel price tag, painting your cabinets. And look at this. So I was asking earlier if Reddit sources would play a role in this, if NotebookLM would really absorb Reddit content. Look at here. We bought cabinet painting kits on Amazon, came out great. Reddit DIY user. Well, hey, they didn't get the exact credit on that, but at least we know it's able to understand Reddit content. Navigating the noise, why is cabinet painting so confusing? We got a nice little graphic here to go with it. This is impressive. This is very impressive. So So we have the phases, kind of like we had in that infographic, the steps within each phase, phase 2. So this is really making an argument for painting your cabinets, I feel like a little bit more, which I guess a slide deck in its nature, you're gonna be presenting something in that manner. So I guess it makes sense. But this is great. I mean, this is absolutely great. This could easily go into, I mean, this could even be split into infographics as well. You could split this up and post this across your social media channels. If you're a remodeler or you're somebody teaching DIY remodeling, you could post this on your social media. You could split these up into individual posts if you wanted to. You could make an ebook out of this. So I think that might even be the best usage as far as, people are always talking about how to make money with AI. I mean, ebooks, you could go that route with this very easily. And you could even have it where, let's say that you're offering this as a service on Upwork or a platform like that, and you're offering ebook creation or graphic design for ebooks, whatever. I mean, you could get the source information from your client and feed it into NotebookLM very, very easily. And you could also go back to the initial prompt and make tweaks and change this up a bit. You can also put it into a slideshow. So we just expanded this into the slideshow here, and you can click through it like you would a slideshow. It's pretty fantastic. So just kind of looking at it against our infographic, it seems like the explanations are pretty similar. The infographic's just going to be more concise because it's a smaller image. This slide deck just goes way into detail. The thing I'm a bit interested in here is, remember there was that option in here. Oh, so I guess I was going to say, I thought there was an option to make it longer, but we were on the default option. So that might've been why it took so long. The shorter option maybe is going to be half the length. I think that's amazing. That's super useful. So you can do a lot of stuff with NotebookLM very clearly. Like I said, I've been using it for the audio overview. I love the audio overview so much because I just love listening to audiobooks, and while I'm in the car and whatnot, it's super great for that. There's tons of other use cases. You can use it for business presentations, organizing information into these slide decks. By the looks of this, you could use this as your actual slide deck. Let's say you're presenting on SEO or social media marketing or whatever the case may be. You're trying to show your value as a service provider for a company. This is the way to do it. Feed all of your highlights, all of your positive information from your campaign into NotebookLM, create a beautiful slide deck like this, present it to your client at the quarterly meeting. They're going to want to re-sign with you for sure. And now we're getting towards the end of the year. You could do the end of the year slideshow, essentially going over the entire campaign. So this is why I think it's going to be useful in a few months from now that we have all these tools out there for so long. Because let's say the end of next year, we're going to have a solid 1.5 to 2 years of these tools being around. I mean, you can take data from way back in the day and over the course of the year or even before that and put together a nice presentation. I mean, you can even do that now, of course. Use data from that you had from last year or earlier this year and piece it together. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. NotebookLM, give it a shot. It's great for a lot of things, especially when it comes to showing your worth and your value as a service provider for businesses, or if you're trying to study and become better in school or whatever your pursuit is. But again, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate this. We're going to try to create a lot more content around using different AI tools because I think that's a big topic of interest now, clearly. And my approach to using this stuff isn't just, the make money online or, use this and start printing money. That's not really how this works. There's maybe it will someday, but there's still a lot of expertise involved in how you leverage these tools. Like, you can create a beautiful presentation, but you still have to know how to explain this to your target audience, how to pick apart certain insights, key insights and information for clients. So just be mindful of that. These tools will improve your workflow. They'll make your life easier, and they're an amazing starting point, but there's still that manual process involved of using your expertise in leveraging these tools. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Like and subscribe and try to do all that stuff. And yeah, have a good one. Peace.